The 1980s didn't just give us neon lights, Cold War paranoia, and synthesizers. It gave us sci-fi that pushed so hard against the limits that governments and censors scrambled to shut it down. These weren't just movies. They were cinematic live grenades, blowing holes in what polite society thought audiences could handle. One of them was nearly buried by its own studio. Another was smuggled around the world on videotape like contraband. And at least one became so infamous that it practically predicted our modern world. Take Terry Gilliam's Brazil. On the surface, it's a dark comedy about ductwork and bureaucracy. But underneath, it's an Orwellian nightmare about government incompetence, surveillance, and paperwork so powerful it kills. Jonathan Pryce plays a drone who gets trapped in the system over a typo, and the satire cuts so close to reality that Universal Pictures tried to neuter it into a love story. Gilliam fought back with a public campaign, even screening bootlegs for critics until they embarrassed the studio into releasing his cut. Overseas, governments demanded trims to torture scenes and depictions of state violence, while some countries refused it altogether. No wonder. Its ending suggested the only way to survive a totalitarian state is to escape into insanity. Now contrast that with David Cronenberg's Videodrome. James Woods plays a sleazy TV executive who chases an underground broadcast so depraved it literally reshapes his body. Rick Baker's effects went places nobody had ever seen on screen before. TV slots and torsos, weapons sprouting from flesh. It horrified ratings boards across the world. Britain and Germany hacked out scenes linking violence with sexual arousal. Some Australian territories banned it completely. It barely limped through theaters, but once it hit VHS, it spread like a virus. Today, critics call it prophetic, because when Cronenberg showed technology rewiring our brains, he wasn't exaggerating. He was predicting the internet age. And then there's John Carpenter's The Thing. Audiences in 1982 wanted cuddly aliens, and instead they got a monster movie so bleak it made critics gag. In Antarctica, a team of men discover a parasite that can imitate any living thing, and the paranoia unravels them one by one. Rob Bottin's practical effects were grotesque, slimy, and unforgettable. Too unforgettable, apparently, because censors hacked away at them across Europe. Critics trashed it as excessive. Theaters fielded complaints about people fainting. Even test audiences hated its ending. Two men in the cold, maybe human, maybe alien, waiting to freeze. That's not closure. That's cosmic dread. The box office flopped, but today it's a masterpiece. And its core question, can you trust anyone, hits just as hard in an era of conspiracy theories and misinformation. Meanwhile, over in Japan, animation grew up with Akira. In 1988, Katsuhiro Otomo's cyberpunk epic detonated expectations that anime was for kids. Neo Tokyo becomes a battleground of biker gangs, corrupt officials, and psychic experiments gone nuclear. The violence was graphic, the politics incendiary, and the body horror unlike anything Western audiences had ever seen, drawn frame by frame. Entire countries hesitated to release it. British boards wanted cuts. Some European states delayed it for years. But fans traded tapes like sacred texts. And in doing so, Akira not only cemented anime as serious cinema, it warned of governments so addicted to control that they'd blow up their own cities. If you're enjoying this trip through the forbidden shelves of sci-fi, then hit that subscribe button. We dig into banned, butchered, and bootlegged classics every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Cronenberg wasn't done terrifying censors. His film Scanners put telepaths in a corporate conspiracy, and then, boom, that head explosion. The single most famous shot in his career, and a guaranteed ticket to the censorship office. Germany, Britain, multiple territories demanded cuts to psychic gore and medical experimentation sequences that hit too close to home. On paper, it was science fiction. In practice, it looked like someone caught actual violence on camera. Its message that governments and corporations secretly experiment on citizens wasn't exactly designed to reassure anyone. And John Carpenter again, this time with Escape from New York. America's most iconic city turned into a maximum security prison, with Kurt Russell's Snake Plissken sent in to rescue the president. The decaying sets looked too real because Carpenter used abandoned neighborhoods and burned out buildings. Eastern Bloc countries banned it, calling it capitalist propaganda. In the West, some critics bristled at the idea that America's greatest city could collapse into lawless hell. But the film's most dangerous idea wasn't the gunfights or explosions. It was that government itself was cynical, corrupt, and willing to sacrifice its citizens for political gain. And then came They Live. Carpenter made a film about aliens secretly running society through subliminal messages. And instead of playing it like pulp, he made it a direct satire of capitalism. Roddy Piper finds sunglasses that reveal every ad, every billboard, every magazine as a command. Obey, consume, conform. Some distributors quietly limited its release. Some theaters wouldn't touch it. Overseas, cuts targeted its most pointed jabs at poverty and media control. The irony? The very forces Carpenter was skewering tried to suppress his movie, but word got out. VHS kept it alive, and today, its imagery is meme culture gold. That 6-minute alley fight, just to put on a pair of glasses, that's dedication to the bit. So why these 7 films? Because they weren't just edgy entertainment. They rattled censors, enraged politicians, and scared studios. Brazil showed governments as bungling torturers. Videodrome turned TV into a flesh infection. The Thing made survival feel worse than death. Akira dared to make animation terrifying. Scanners made us afraid of pharmaceutical corporations. Escape from New York trashed America's image at home and abroad. And They Live flat out told us capitalism was the alien invasion. Here's the thing about censorship. It rarely kills a film. If anything, it makes the legend bigger. Each time these movies were trimmed, banned, or buried, audiences only wanted them more. And now, decades later, the ideas that censors tried to erase feel prophetic. Surveillance states, media addiction, corporate overreach, political collapse. These films didn't just scare people in the 80s. They predicted the world we live in. Now it's your turn. Which one of these controversial sci-fi shockers shook you the most? And if you had to pick one to show a modern audience uncut, which would it be? Drop your answers in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the movies that rattled the world.